Joel smiled, glancing at the box full of red and green wrapped packages on the passenger seat beside him. He'd bought these gifts for his sisters, their husbands, and Aunt Verna and Uncle Lester. More packages in the back of his truck waited for his nieces and nephews. He hoped his generosity in bringing Christmas presents would be well received. What could be more selfless than buying Christmas gifts for 17 family members when I'm short on money? He thought. Thankfully, Joel had been able to borrow some money from his buddy, Tom Hunter. But of course, that meant one more obligation to pay. Joel still hadn't gotten all his subcontractors paid from jobs they'd done for him several months ago. He wondered if he'd ever be debt-free. "Should be doing more than fine if I ever get my share of Dad's will," he mumbled, turning in the direction of his sister Elsie's house, where he'd been invited for Christmas dinner. If Elsie, Arlene, Doris, and Aunt Verna thought the gifts he'd brought for everyone qualified as a selfless act, before the day was out, he might get to open the envelope Dad had left for him. Guiding his truck onto the backcountry road leading to Elsie and John's place, Joel's hands began to sweat. What if Aunt Verna thinks the gifts I bought are superficial and not a selfless act? She does have the final say, and until she's convinced I've committed a selfless act, I'm not getting any of Dad's money. When Joel had apologized to his ex-girlfriend Anna for hurting her during their breakup more than 7 years ago, his aunt hadn't seen it as a heartfelt, much less selfless deed. Aunt Verna could be tough, like Joel's dad. Stubborn, too. When she made up her mind about something, there was no changing it. Joel needed to keep on her good side. If he said enough nice things to his aunt today, and she liked the gifts he'd bought everyone, it might help his cause. Pulling into Elsie's driveway, Joel slammed on the brakes and did a double take. "Oh no! What happened?" Joel undid his seatbelt and hopped out of the car. He almost pinched himself to see if he was in the middle of a nightmare. The smell of burned wood and ash made him cough. His sister's house was gone, burned to the ground. Joel's heart hammered in his chest as he got back in his truck and turned it around. "I need to find Elsie, see if everyone's okay. Maybe they're at Arlene's. If not, then she may know why their house caught on fire and where they're staying." Farmerstown, Ohio. After Joel pulled up to the barn by Arlene and Larry's house, he turned off the engine, hopped out, and raced up the porch steps. He'd only knocked once when the door opened and Doug stuck his head out. "Where's your mother? I need to talk to her right away." "She and my dad are at the hospital with Scott." Doug stared up at him with a curious expression. Joel's mouth hung slightly open. "What's wrong with your brother?" He pushed his hands deep into his pockets. Doug opened the door wider and stepped aside. "You look cold. You'd better come in and we'll tell you about it." The icy air cut through Joel's boots, so he stomped the snow off his feet and did as the boy suggested. Anxious to know why Scott and his parents were at the hospital, Joel also wanted to find out if anyone knew about the fire that had destroyed his eldest sister's house. It didn't take long for him to ask, because Elsie and John, along with Uncle Lester and Aunt Verna, were seated on the living room sofa. The children, Martha, Mary, Hope, and Lillian, sat on the floor near the fireplace, while Glenn and Blaine occupied the 2 recliners. The somber expressions on what should have been a joyous Christmas afternoon revealed the depth of everyone's sorrow. Joel stood in front of the couch, looking down at them. He opened his mouth, but at first nothing came out. He wasn't sure what to say. I just came from Millersburg and was stunned when I saw what little remains of your house. What happened, Elsie? Was anyone hurt?" "No." John's shoulders slumped. "We were here last night, having supper with the rest of the family, and soon after Scott was taken to the hospital, we headed for home."